Hello friends, welcome to this lecture series on microprocessor 8085, and this lecture series is beneficial for the student of the engineering student who are in degree and diploma level courses and studying microprocessor as their subject. And also this lecture series is also beneficial for those students who are preparing for various competitive examinations like GATE, IAS, PSU's examination. Okay, let's get started. This is the first lecture on Introduction to Microprocessor 8085, and this is the reference book by Ramesh Gonkar, Microprocessor Architecture, Programming and Application with 8085. So let's get started with this first lecture. So now first we will see what are the applications of microprocessor in today's life. This will motivate the student to study about this microprocessor subject because of its applications. So many vast applications of microprocessors, and it has created a great amount of job opportunities for the student. So this will motivate you to study about the microprocessors. First, firstly, you must have heard about that processors you used in your computers or in your desktop PCs. Phones also you must have heard that processors are used, and in various tablets also these days microprocessors are widely used. You must have heard about Intel Core i3, i5, Core 2 Duo. All these things are processors only, microprocessor only. It is the means brain of that your computer or phone or tablets. Everything, most of the operations are done by this processor only. Sometimes processor is also called CPU only, or sometimes it may be called only as processor. All these words can be used interchangeably. So first application is about computer, phones and tablets. Moving on. Second wide application of microprocessor is in the field of robotics. You know that to control the various functions of the robotics, to move its arm, how to move, where to move, every decisions are being nowadays taken through the processor or controller, microcontroller and microprocessor used inside the robot. Microcontroller is also like microprocessor only with inbuilt memory and some input output interface also. In our lectures we will see what are the differences between microprocessor and microcontroller. So in the robotics industries, this processor and controllers are very widely used. Moving on, in home and industrial automation system, microprocessors are also used. In home, there are so many applications where the processors and controllers are used. These days, intelligent switching systems, intelligent door locking systems are coming nowadays in the market, in which wide use of processor is there. In industries also, wherever controllers are used, automatic control is there. Processors are used only to control the pressure, temperature, humidity of the system, and to monitor all those parameters. Microprocessors are used by monitoring the parameter and what are the decisions are to be taken, how to take the decisions. These are have been done through the microprocessors only. So in the industry is very widely used things in microprocessor and microcontrollers. And communication equipments, in all the communication equipments, in satellite communication, in television communication, in the base station also processors are used to take the various decisions. Consumer electronic product is also in this industries also, this processors are very widely used. You must have known that in the microwave oven, to control the temperature, some processors are used. in a washing machine is there. In these days, smart televisions are also coming, in which microprocessors are used to control the various things. And in military applications also, during signal processing have been done in radar through processors only, advanced processor only, DSP processors are coming, which are performing the various algorithm, FFT algorithm, all those calculations in military application. Microprocessors are used. So what I want to say that this microprocessor or microcontroller have a very vast application. So if somebody is good at microprocessor or microcontroller or embedded system, surely he can get a good job in any of these industries. So this will motivate the student to study in deeper about the microprocessor. Okay, so let's see how microprocessor looks. uh, you must have heard about this Intel I series. This is the i7 processor. This is the very latest processor of Intel. Such a small, even to one or 1.5 centimeter, its length will be the processor. This is the brain. Whatever decision has been taken through laptop, whatever calculation, whatever coding, everything has been. These are performed by this processor only. Before i7, you must have heard about Core 2 Duo or dual core processors in the laptop, and before Core 2 Duo in that older PCs, uh, or your desktop PC, you must have seen that Pentium processors were used, and this is 8085. uh, this is the very old processor of 1970s. It came during that starting of the development of the processor. This is 8086 advanced version. Next, after 8085, it was 8086 it came. Okay, so this gives the views. You have seen that in 1970s this is through hole kind of IC. 8086 is also through hole kind of IC, but nowadays surface mount technology is there. Surface mount processors are there, and they have become much smaller. More transistors have been each, and also its size has been reduced considerably. So to study this advanced version of the processor, we have to first study this basic processor. Then only we will be able to switch. We will get able to understand these advanced processors. So in this lecture series, we will be studying about 8085. This will be pave the path for you to understand the more advanced processor like Intel I series. Okay. Okay, let's see what is a processor. First, we will see what the definition of microprocessor is. Uh, it is a programmable device that takes input. It is a programmable device that takes input, performs some arithmetic and logical operations on the data according to the program stored in the memory, and produces desired output. Okay. First of all, it is clear that it is a programmable device. Whatever functions uh, we want that this processor should do. So for that we have to write the program. We have to give the program. Suppose some numbers are there. We need that to multiply these number. So we have to write the code. We have to give the program how to multiply the number. That's why it is called programmable device. Suppose we want to add the number, then how to add these numbers. These things have to be fed to the microprocessor. These have to be given in the memory of the processor. If you want to sort the number or calculate the square root, factorial, in anything we want that our processor should be doing, then that program we have to feed in the microprocessor. Is a programmable device. Then Now you must have understand what it is, why it is called programmable device, because we are giving the program, we are programming the device according to our need that takes input. And also when we are giving the programs, so we will be giving the input, what input we will giving. Suppose we want to multiply, then the two numbers we will be giving as an input to the processor that takes input, performs some arithmetic and logical operation. Okay, microprocessor can perform arithmetical and logical operations. Arithmetic like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, increment, decrement, all those arithmetic function microprocessor can perform. Also logical operations also microprocessor can perform. Logical means and, or, not, XOR, all these logical operation also microprocessor can perform on the data. Which data? The input data. And what operation it will perform? According to the program stored in the memory. Okay, whatever program we have stored, suppose for addition or multiplication or increment or sorting, searching, whatever program we have given, that program it will apply on that data and produces the desired output. Then we will be getting our desired output. Okay, now let's see some examples of the microprocessor. These in green color, these are the companies. Intel, these are its initial processor were 8085 and 8086, and now a recent processor i3, i5, i7. Pentium is also Intel microprocessor. AMD is also one company which is manufacturing processors. It's Athlon series, Ryzen series processor you must have heard in the laptop, gaming laptop, workstations. Qualcomm is also very popular company. You must have heard about Snapdragon series of processors. These are used in our smartphone, very widely used in our smartphone. I think you must have heard about them. MediaTek is also very popular company which is manufacturing microprocessor. Helio is the series of microprocessor that MediaTek is manufacturing. Okay, let's move on. Now we will see some more characteristics of the processor. As we have discussed earlier, microprocessor is also called as processor or CPU. Sometimes CPU, sometimes processor or microprocessor it is called. There are slight difference between CPU and processor, but in this series we can use this word as interchangeably, because central piece processing unit is also containing the microprocessor with some other component like memory, your cooling fan, motherboard, all those things are embedded, but its main part is that processor only. Okay, now second point, we will see that microprocessor is a semiconductor based digital integrated circuit that works on binary number. Okay, we know that these days most of the integrated circuit and ICs, these are fabricated on a semiconductor. Semiconductor are the material whose properties are in between the metal and insulators, uh, and also we can control its properties by doping. That's why semiconductor are widely used, because we are controlling its properties by doping. With the number of electrons we can make it n type, and by increasing the number of holes we can make it p type. We can increase and decrease the conductivity according to our requirement. So these integrated circuit, digital ICs, everything are nowadays made on semiconductor. Some popular semiconductor are direct band gap semiconductor like silicon and germanium. Initially this was there. Nowadays gallium arsenide, gallium phosphide, gallium nitride, these things are also used. So now it is a digital integrated circuit. It is an integrated circuit. Integrated circuit is why it is called, because lots of transistor, diodes, MOSFETs, FETs, resistors, capacitor are integrated on a single chip of semiconductors, on a single piece of semiconductor. Suppose this is a piece of a semiconductor about 1 or 2 centimeter. On this about 6000 in 8085, about 6000 transistors and gates are there. On this only this 2 centimeter long this chip. So some transistor, diodes, everything are integrated on this. So that's why it is called integrated circuit. It is digital circuit. Digital means it works only on some specified levels, not on all levels. Its working level is not infinite. Some finite levels are there, like 0 volt, 5 volt, 3.3 volt. Some fixed voltage are there on which this is working, and that works on binary numbers only. This is important thing, binary numbers in the form of bit like 1010. So processor or microprocessor understand only the language of binary. Its work only on the basis of this bits 1010. Everything, whatever code we are writing, whatever program we are feeding, whatever input we are giving, whatever output we are getting, all those things have to be in the binary format only. The programming which we will be doing has to be done in the binary format. Moving on, let's see. It's contain both combinational and sequential logic circuits. Okay, in the digital circuit you must have studied that combinational circuit, that output depends upon only the present value. So, and in the sequential circuit, output depends upon the present and past values. Combinational circuits are like our gates, and or not, NAND gate, adder, subtractor, encoder, decoder, multiplexer. All these are combinational circuit. And sequential circuit like flip-flop, counter, registers, memories, all those things are sequential circuit. It has a memory element because output depends upon present and past values. Past values is stored in the memory. So this processor, microprocessor, contains lot of combinational and logic circuit. These are these are there to conduct made various arithmetical and logical operations. All those programs and other things are there that are executed inside the microprocessor by these combinational and sequential logic circuits are. Fourth point is that it is a clock driven device. Yes, it is a clock driven device. Like these clocks are there, and everything has been synchronized according to that clock. Okay, you must have heard that when you have, if you have purchased any laptop or computer or smartphone, you must have seen that its frequency is specified. You want that it should work on a higher frequency. Higher gigahertz means it is working more faster. So that is clock only. That clock, if the clock is high, then it will work at a high speed. Okay, it is a register based device. Register is a temporary storage location inside the processor. Suppose you want to multiply the two numbers. Okay, then these two numbers you will write the program in an external memory, but the input what you are giving during the execution of the program, it has to be stored somewhere in the processor. So register is a place where these data are stored during the execution of the program. When the program is currently under execution, register is a place where the data are stored, the result, the input and output, the program also. During execution, the program is also, all those instructions also are there in the register. You can do the programming to change the content of register also. So it is a register based device. It is made using VLSI technology. VLSI stands for very large scale integration. It is a type of integration where large number of components like transistor, diode, capacitor, resistor, all those things are integrated on a single chip of semiconductor. Okay, we will study in the next slide about VLSI technology. Okay, let's see what are the advances in the semiconductor technology from 1950s to nowadays. Okay, because of this advancement in the semiconductor technology, these present days what we are seeing, the processor, laptop, smartphone, everything which we are seeing, that has been only possible, and that has been only feasible because of the advancement in the semiconductor technology. Integrated circuit means integration of the various component on a single piece of semiconductor. It is started in the late 1950s, where several transistor, diode, resistors, all those things are designed on a single chip. on a single chip, means on a single piece of semiconductor. Transistor were also there, diodes, resistors, and other components that were designed. It is called integrated circuit, and it's what started in 1950s. Moving on, in 1960s, some logic gates were made using integration technology, and it is called small scale integration. Now, with the more advancement in technology, some gates have been started to be implemented using this integrated circuit technology. It's all called small scale integration. Now, with further more advancement, about 100 gates were integrated on a single chip. Now you see more number of gates have been fabricated on the single piece of semiconductor. So it was called medium scale integration. About 100 gates were there. It was called medium scale integration, and a decade counter 7490 series decade counter. It was made through this medium scale integration. Now again, as the technology increases, with more advancement, now more number of gates can be fabricated on a that small single chip of IC. More highly dense circuits were there. So it was called large scale integration, in which about 1000 or more gates were fabricated on this thin single piece of semiconductor. It was called large scale integration. But nowadays, very large scale integration, super large scale integration in this, about lakhs of transistors, diodes, and other things are integrated on a single semiconductor piece. Okay. Now let's see some the historical perspective about the Intel processor. We have to study the microprocessor 8085 only, but we will see before that what were the processor, and after that what were the processor. Okay, the first processor was Intel 4004. It came in 1971 with about 2300 number of transistor on a single semiconductor chip. You can see that about thousand gates were there in large scale integration. So we can say that it was made using LSI technology. Its clock speed is also given 108 kilohertz for the clock speed. Its address bus and data bus is given, and data bus is that means amount of data that can be means simultaneously accessed. And address bus is nothing but a group of connecting wires. Means suppose microprocessor have to take the instruction from the memory, so it will give the address of the memory on the address bus only. And suppose what data has to be taken, it will be taken through the data bus only, that is connecting wires only. Okay, then after 404 8008 it came, then 8080 came, then 8085 came, and 808 came. You can see it came up to my Intel, and after that Intel some core 2 dual core, and also then I series, i3, i7, i9 is. Now you can see number of transistors have been increasing. So clearly you can see that on the single chip more number of transistors have been issued. So more highly dense circuit is there, so its operation is also increased. Also you can say that the clock speed is also increasing as the technology is becoming better and better. The clocks are getting higher, so means that our processor are working at a higher speed only. Address bus has also improved. As the address bus is improved, means the more number of memory location. When if only 10-bit address bus there, then at 2 raised to the power 10 number of memory location can be accessed. Only means one kilobyte only memory can be accessed. One kilobyte. And also this 36-bit means 2 raised to the power 36 memory locations can be there. Our 8085 which we are studying, it has 16-bit address, so 2 raised to the power 16 numbers of memory locations are there, and at each location we can store 8-bit of data. So 2 raised to the power 16 multiplied by 8 is equal to 64K of memory was there. So as the technology increases, data bus is also increases. This increase, the data bus and address bus increases, then number of memory location that can be addressed has been improved. So we can show that as the technologies increases, our frequency is increases, number of transistor etched on that semiconductor is increases, memory location increases, and the our processor are making better and better, faster and smaller also it has been becoming. Okay, let's see. This slide shows the basic basic building block of any microprocessor based system. Okay, whatever the processor, wherever it is used, the basic building blocks of a processor will be of any microprocessor based system is like this only. This is the processor and this is the main. Suppose it is 8085 or any processor it is there. So we know that it is a programmable device what we have studied earlier. So we have to feed the program. We have to, so from where we will feed the program? We have to write the program in this memory, external memory. The memory it is here, we have to write the program. Suppose we want to get the multiplication of a two number, then how to multiply those two numbers? Then we have to write the code, we have to write the program in the binary format. In the binary form we have to write the program and we have to write this program and store in this memory. From here the microprocessor will take the program of how to multiply the number. Okay, then after multiplication we know that we have to give the input. The two numbers we have to give the input. So these numbers will be given through the input devices. Input device will give the number. Suppose on your laptop you are giving input through keyboard. Through mouse you can give the input. Those switches on and off, 5 volt and 0 volt, you can give the input. These are type of input devices. You are giving the numbers, you are giving through input. So from here the input will go through microprocessor, and now you have the program inside the memory. From the memory, microprocessor will take the program. According to that program, according to the instruction, according to the code, microprocessor will know what to do. It will know if they have to multiply the number, then the processor will multiply the number and it will give the output here. So here is it is the output device. Output, from where we will get the output? Suppose the monitor is there, monitor, speaker and display, these are the output devices. From the display devices we will be seeing that. From the speaker also we can get to know what is the multiplication of two numbers. On the monitor that multiplication number can be seen. This is the bus we have discussed earlier. It is a bus, it is just a connecting wires from input to the microprocessor. The bus is there, so it will give the input in the binary format, like 1010 format. It is there, all those 1010 bits in the form of voltages, it will be available here and microprocessor will take it. Similarly, the output, in the output also this binary digits will be there. This binary digits will be its voltage we will available on these connecting wires. This will be like wires like this, 1 2 3 4. Microprocessor 8085 is a 8-bit processor. Its data bus is of 8-bit. So like this 8 bits are there. So on this 8-bit voltages are there. So microprocessor will give the output to these buses. This is the address bus. Address bus means where the microprocessor will give the will access the memory. Microprocessor 8085 has 16-bit address bus, so 2 raised to power 16 locations are there. So this it will access through this address bus only. Okay, so this shows that any microprocessor based system, it will consist of this system. In the further lecture we will study about what are the building blocks of inside this processor. Inside this processor, what are the things. Okay, let's stop here. We will discuss in the next lecture about inside what are the basic building blocks inside the processor. So if you have any doubts, you can give your doubts in the comment section, and also please like, share and subscribe this channel for more such video. And once again, thanks for watching. Thank you.